Hello, hello, hello. This is Gresh from the I Am CEO podcast, and I have a very special guest on the show today. I have Oxana Romanyuk of Remote Rockstars. Oxana, it's awesome to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here with you, your audience, and so happy to share my CEO journey with everyone.
Absolutely. I'm super excited to hear more about it. But before we jumped in, I wanted to read a little bit more about Oxana so you can hear about all the awesome things that she's doing. And Oxana is the founder and CEO of Remote Rockstars that offers high-end online business management and professional virtual assistant services to visionary entrepreneurs, industry experts, and coaches. Oxana works with her homegrown team of rockstar account managers, virtual assistants, helping entrepreneurs systematize and grow their business. Oxana is a certified online business manager and a proud member of the International Association of Online Business Managers. She's trained countless virtual assistants and has helped multiple entrepreneurs grow their businesses, reach more people, and impact the world. Oxana, are you ready to speak to the IMCO community?
Yes, I am. Let's dive in.
Awesome. Let's do it. So to kick everything off, I wanted to hear a little bit more about what I call your CEO story and we'll let you get started with your business.
Yeah, so happy to share. Actually in my CEO journey, administrative work, helping and supporting people of different kind of like professional backgrounds and supporting their growth in their professional journey has always been kind of like part of my CEO story. And it doesn't matter kind of like what part of the career and career stage or what part of industry I was in. It's just that the inspiration and my commitment to the people's development and growth has always just kind of like been in the forefront. So I used to be a Russian language instructor to Army and Navy linguists in Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And so that definitely kind of like put me a little bit in the pressure situations when those linguists were getting ready for the proficiency tests every year. So that's where I kind of just come in with like that service hat and helping them really excel in their proficiency tests. And then also being a travel account manager in the corporate and leisure sector, especially servicing the high-end demanding clients. So that kind of just like really taught me how to be very time efficient and how to actually provide like the top-notch customer service too. So also being like very competitive with the sales numbers. I kind of like have a little bit of like the competition and relationship building are like my two top strengths. Like if you know the Clifton test with the Strength Finder. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then also helping the local DC studio with their marketing and social media efforts. That really kind of just like propelled me forward in a way of like how important is actually visibility is for all the businesses and how important it is to have a very well thought of strategy of promoting the business. So that kind of just like all of those little things put together, like just really set me, I feel like, apart on my CEO journey and just really prepared me with the team management, the project management aspects of it, a little bit of the business strategy and marketing here. All of this is combined. So that's just kind of like what really gave me a really good boost for then opening up Remote Rockstars, where I could actually incorporate all of those like administrative skills and organizational skills and systems and building relationships too. I mean, our service, I feel like at Remote Rockstars, beyond the actual service providing factor of it, is just the building those genuine relationships with our clients. Like that's what really sets us apart. And that's what become part of my CEO story.
Yeah, that's absolutely awesome. And it's so funny, like when you end up starting a business, I think sometimes you think that you can do one thing and it'll help you to be more successful. But I really feel like, as you said, so eloquently, like there's so many aspects of our experiences and our lives and skills that we kind of cultivate that when you have your business, it's not like there's just one of them that you use. It's so many of those, relationship aspects or being able to excel under pressure and to be able to have and build those kind of clientele and provide those services. So many of the things add up into providing really great services.
Absolutely. Exactly. And the thing is, like, I feel like being a CEO, it's not just all about being super business oriented, but it is that people factor that always comes in in many different ways, right? It's being from the team management to your client management to maybe your professional networks and relationships. And especially right now that a lot of people are entering the virtual landscape, I feel like building and maybe strengthening those professional relationships where we can rely on the support of those people in our industry is so important, because honestly, an entrepreneurial journey can be quite lonely, especially in the virtual space. And being an online business manager, sometimes even to bounce off of ideas of different people, it could be hard to find people that have the same mindset, of the same drive and commitment to their business and mission. So yes, basically the aspect of building the relationships in various areas is just absolutely important.
Yeah, it's absolutely, key. When they say your network is your net worth, and being able to kind of build and cultivate those opportunities, and especially like during, transitionary times as we might be experiencing right now, where things are changing and things are going a lot more online, it becomes even more important to be able to have those people that you can lean on, that maybe not necessarily in your industry, but kind of like, I guess, that community that you can kind of lean on to be able to make sure that happens. So absolutely love, that you've been able to do that, and you help so many, businesses kind of make that transition into that online world too. So I know I touched on it a little bit when I read your bio. Could you take us through like some of the services you provide and how exactly that experience is working with you and your team?
Yeah, so our ideal client with Remote Rockstars is basically an entrepreneur or online business owner who are, it's people who are ready to scale, who are so driven and committed to serving their audience, be it their clients or providing just the products that they develop, that they are just kind of like ready to expand, they're ready to grow. And this is the time in their business when doing everything by themselves is just absolutely. So that's when our team comes in, be just one account manager that services those clients' needs, or maybe a team of us actually coming together and then just helping out with all the administrative and online business management services. And so basically on the administrative side, which is virtual assistants, and then online business management side, this is a little bit more of like a higher elevated type of service, I would say. Mm-hmm. It's anything from email management, just plain and simple organizing, going through emails, responding to some customer support questions. So that's a little bit of a client success management, I would say. Mm-hmm. And then podcast management. I mean, this is actually what we do for our clients, doing the outreach, and then looking for different speaking opportunities for them. So public relations in a sense, too, creating media kits for them, and social media management. Like I said, the online visibility of all your platforms and different channels that a business might be on is absolutely important for it to be consistent and cohesive and just really a great representation of the brand. So then we help with that as well. And also launch management. I mean, so many entrepreneurs now, and generally they're visionaries and they're creators. Like every Monday we actually come into a video meeting with our clients. They just kind of like shower us with different creative ideas. We're just like, okay, we don't have to act on everything. Let's just really focus on something that's going to move the needle and what gets us closer to the money. That's just kind of like the CEO mindset that kicks in, I guess.
Yes.
Just reining those creative ideas in a little bit. So, but yes, launch management is absolutely essential in every entrepreneur's life. Just having that support team that can take them from the stage of just the idea and the creation to the stage of like all the way to execution and the actual success of their product too, like the launch. So we kind of just like walk them through the entire process. So you see, it's kind of like different aspects of really and systems, I guess, of like running a business. And so our team is absolutely strong on building those systems and setting up systems and processes that would then ensure a very nice workflow between everything that the CEO has to do in their business or an entrepreneur and everything that support team works on. So basically it's a very good synchrony then and a well-oiled machine for the business to function no matter who is actually performing the task. So that's actually our priority, for the CEO or the entrepreneur to be able to step away and the business still running as usual, no matter if they're in it or out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes so much sense. And being able to kind of, as you said, be able to focus on the things that'll move the needle is so important, because I think as you grow the business, or even when you start the business, you want to quickly find out what those things are and be able to focus on those things that can move the needle forward, and those things that can be delegated or outsourced, whatever term we might use, but basically off of our plate is so important, because it's really hard to to grow and scale when you're doing all of the things, because when you're doing all of the things, it's hard for you to focus on those things that move the needle forward. So that's why I love, so much everything that you're doing and so many of the services you provide.
Thank you so much. Yes. And that's why every time we work or we start actually working with a new client, the very first thing that we dive into is that 90-day strategy. So it's a business strategy of where we're kind of like looking into what, where, who, basically identifying who's responsible for the tasks and what types of tasks are especially repeated tasks that we can automate perhaps, or we can document so that anyone can perform those tasks in the future. And then where everything is kind of like functioning, like what kind of systems are you using? Are they efficient? Can we consolidate some of the systems? Especially so important right now when people and a lot of business owners are reviewing their expenses, making sure that their business runs on kind of like a lean basis, right? So we do not have any extra fluff or something that we actually do not need to pay for. So that's when our strategic vision comes through and our expertise already, since we're in these systems all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what everybody should be trying to do. Just the book, The E-Myth, was coming to mind when you're trying to systematize your business as much as possible so that you can be in it, but you don't have to be in it. You can have other people to kind of work through it and have those strong systems and processes in place. So I wanted to ask you now for what I call your secret sauce. And I know you touched on it a little bit. Do you feel it's that ability to kind of see kind of the systems that need to be in place and, of course, execute them? What kind of you feel sets you apart and makes you unique?
Yes, I'm so happy. It's kind of like twofold, I would say, because on the client side, the client-facing side of our business is definitely building those efficient and super kind of like money-generating systems that are then keeping the business afloat and actually ensure the thrive, or I guess this is the success of the business overall. And then the second part of it is that we actually heavily invest in our virtual assistant and account manager community too on the education side of it. So I would say that for us, it's definitely working very closely with our clients just as a family. I actually do call them our Remote Rockstars family because we are so invested in their success. And ultimately, their success is the direct reflection of our support, right? Like, and everything that we do because we are supporting their businesses. And then on the second side of it, so the internal facing side is that we, or I guess like as a founder of Remote Rockstars, I invest in the professional growth of my team so much too. And so them kind of like growing professionally, them also maintaining their work-life balance, because if their life tank is not full, how can they share the energy and expertise with anyone else if they feel depleted, right? So that's, I feel like what sets us apart is that exceptional approach to both clients and doing their work with the heart, and then to our actual technicians, right? Like who are performing the job and just treating them with the heart, with compassion and kindness too. So that's kind of like a little bit of like that mindful CEO, I would say, mindset.
Yeah, it's extremely powerful. And I think, sometimes I'll say we often will forget that businesses and organizations are made up of people, and it's so important to take care of those people because that's what helps the business go. But as you said, like when you're able to do that, you're able to kind of create that environment, of course, actually create that situation where your people are able to flourish. They're able to improve their skills, of course, too. It extends into the business, and you're able to execute on that ability to kind of see the things that need to be put in place to be able to scale and create those systems in business. So I absolutely love that. So I wanted to switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO hack. So this could be like an app, a book, or a habit that you have, but what's something that makes you more effective and efficient?
You know what comes to mind actually is the E-Myth by Michael Gerber. So he helped me, I guess, like with this book a lot to understand the different stages of when people are starting their businesses. And they're so passionate about their craft that they are on that technician level, and they think like, oh my gosh, I want to share my gift with everyone in the world. So I'm just going to start a restaurant, or I'm going to start, a bakery or something like this. And then eventually they kind of start elevating or like evolving into the manager role and then the entrepreneur role. And for some people, it's a very hard journey to go from one stage to the other. That professional growth is just not really easy. And I feel like for me too, I really identify what stage I am in, right? And what my evolution is going to look like, and how can I actually go into that visionary mindset, and the stage where I am truly kind of like the entrepreneur and not the technician, not necessarily the manager, although still I feel like in the entrepreneurial stage you do combine some of like the managerial skills, or like the team management or any other like management access of management aspects of the business. But if there is no like a project manager on team, right, or there is no like right hand, actually online business managers, OBMs, are that right hand person for every entrepreneur, then you kind of just have to combine those two roles of being a manager and the entrepreneur. But that basically, that book really made a big impact on me. Loved it, absolutely. And then also my business coach, Ani Mannion, is the business coach that I've been working with, who actually helped me a lot to transition from that technical part of running my business and really kind of like become limitless in a way how I now deliver my entrepreneurial spirit to the team, to the clients. And then he also helped me a lot to actually gain that balance between personal life and my work life. And now I'm so grateful, because right now, like, my calendar is so straightforward. I really do live by my calendar, and that just helps me keep sanity, kind of just like and being present every day. And then just like I mentioned earlier, I think like a huge hack actually for a lot of entrepreneurs and CEOs is being plugged in very closely with their professional networks, associations, and groups, be it even just the Facebook groups, and being able to ask questions or maybe just share their wins and failures and challenges. And again, being part of like those really like niche professional associations, I feel like it's absolutely important, not only for the professional growth, but again, just to keep that sanity of the multiple decisions that we all have to make every day.
Yeah, absolutely. No, those are phenomenal hacks. And I think, just speaking to the last, especially too, like so many times you feel like you're alone, as we talked about the loneliness of being an entrepreneur and sometimes being by yourself. Sometimes when we express it or say, hey, I'm struggling with this or I'm going through this, you find out that you're actually not alone. There's so many other people that have either are going through it or have went through it. And it kind of gives you a little bit more peace and helps that sanity piece as well too. But I definitely, believe like the coaching aspect too is huge, just because it's sometimes hard to be able to coach your own self within your business because they're so close to it, that it helps to have those outside eyes and somebody that's really phenomenal at doing that. And then, everything that you do, the first thing that was coming to my mind was, of course, the book, The E-Myth, because it's such a phenomenal read. I definitely say go to for any entrepreneur and business owner. So I definitely appreciate those 3 hacks. So now I wanted to ask you for what I call a CEO nugget. So that could be a word of wisdom or piece of advice. It might be something you would tell a client, or if you were to hop into a time machine, you might tell your younger business self.
Well, my nugget is actually, if you want to be an entrepreneur, and if you happen to be young and single, go for it. Full speed. And I would also say quit your 40-hour work and the job that you're in and pursue your idea passionately. Just really dive fully in with your commitment, with the passion and the drive that you can give it. And if you're not willing to quit your job, or if you're not 100% committed to that idea and to that passion, that maybe it's just really not worth pursuing. And I would also say that there's no such thing as impossible. Through my CEO journey, I've found that impossible can take just a little bit longer. It's still possible, it's attainable, and while also working on your passion and on your entrepreneur business, or while in your entrepreneurial journey, kind of like losing maybe track sometimes of the hours, of the weeks, of just the amount of energy that you put into it, don't destroy your personal and family relationships, because those are the people that are ultimately going to be there for you to support you in times when you need to fall back on that support system. So do not prioritize your career over family and personal relationships, and seek balance. So that's basically I feel like the golden nugget here. And do what you love with the passion and the drive that you're putting into, and the money will flow. It just really does. And my experience, I feel like, just has proven that to you. And when I'm fully committed and passionate about something that I do, and I invest all into it, not compromising my relationships and see with the balance in life, money does flow. It just does.
Yeah, it's crazy how that happens when, you're so much in alignment and you love what you're doing. You love what you're doing and you might be working a lot doing it, but it doesn't feel like work because you're so in alignment. You're so passionate about what you do. But I think that you're absolutely right. I love that nugget as well, too, about making sure we don't forget why we're doing what we're doing. And sometimes we get so wrapped up in the goal, we forget about our family, our friends, those loved ones. The reason why we do what we do and who we want to kind of enjoy those successes with.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we lose sight of that. So it's important to kind of keep that in alignment and make sure that if you have, a hope or a dream or a wish and it's really something that you want to do, just definitely go for it, as you said as well, too. So love those nuggets. And now I want to ask you my absolute favorite question, which is the definition of what it means to be a CEO. And we're hoping to have different quote unquote CEOs on the show. So Oxana, what does being a CEO mean to you?
I would say that being a CEO means building genuine and authentic relationships. And my brilliant team, our gifted clients, my generous community of talented virtual assistants and online business managers just really make it easy for me. Being a CEO is just kind of like those people that I can rely on, that would stand by me and encourage my growth. And so it's not only just running the business, the intricacies of it and all aspects of the administrative, the operational, and the financial decisions that I have to make. But for me, like the most nourishing part of it is actually that relationship building aspect. And what I mentioned earlier is just actually being a compassionate and mindful CEO where our family and our personal life actually comes first. And that's what I tell my team all the time. And then work goes into it. And so what I actually encourage also everyone who is on my team is to focus on everything that actually brings them joy. And so I know it's kind of like the Marie Kondo language, right? Like don't toss that thing if it brings you joy. But it's just so true. And again, like when we are joyful in our work, and luckily, actually being a freelancer, a digital nomad, a remote worker, we do have that freedom and that flexibility of really deciding what brings us joy. And so I'm going to focus on it and just do it. And that's going to be my everyday life. And so I guess definitely focusing on things that bring us a lot of joy and just kind of like keep our spirits up. And especially right now, when a lot of people are really deciding just like, oh, well, how am I going to transition into the virtual world? It's then kind of like taking this maybe a little bit of like a critical look at your skills and all the services that you can potentially market and provide, like what is actually marketable right now. And then making an assessment of just like out of this entire list, what do I feel most passionate about and what actually brings me a lot of joy? And this is what I'm going to focus on. So that's, and you can tell, I mean, running my business and then working with my clients, this is kind of like my CEO life. And I feel like with the amount of like smiles on my face and like the positivity that I'm talking about this, like I am in my right element. So that's what being a CEO is for me.
Absolutely. No, I love that. And I think, again, when you have that kind of North Star and you're paying attention to that, making sure you're doing things with that joyful attitude and having those things in your life, it not only helps you out with your business, but it also helps you out with your life and all the aspects of your life. And it starts to create that snowball moment and opportunity. So absolutely love that definition and that perspective, Oxana. I love your time and appreciate it even more. So what I wanted to do is pass you the mic, so to speak, just see if there's anything additional you want to let our readers and listeners know. And of course, how best they can get a hold of you and find out about all the awesome things you and your team are working on.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the questions. My last, I guess like my last tip or additional piece of information here would be to being a CEO, part of it is tackling crucial conversations and sometimes uncomfortable and tough conversations really. So I would say that maybe going through the book of Crucial Conversations and just learning those techniques of how to tackle those hard conversations is really going to be important in your CEO journey. Also learning how to say no. and how to set those expectations and boundaries with your clients, with your professional networks and colleagues, maybe with your family too, and also how to improvise at work and kind of like how to work with what you have, especially if you're at the very beginning of your entrepreneurial journey. So that's very important. And you can always find us online on our website, remoterockstars.com. We also have a very nice and warm community on Facebook that's called Remote Rockstars Club Group. And this is where we actually share a lot of vetted and verified job opportunities for remote workers, no matter what industry you belong to. And this is where we do a lot of education and training for all of our digital nomads and all of our freelancers that are part of our family. And that, again, something that we definitely approach with heart and kindness, and that's what sets us apart ultimately.
Yes, absolutely. Heart, kindness, and let's not forget joy as well too. So I definitely appreciate you for providing all that information. We will have the links and information in the show notes so that everybody can follow up with you. But I appreciate those nuggets as well too. It's so important to kind of make sure those things are in alignment so that we're building the life and the business that we hope to have, not one we want to get away from. So I appreciate you for doing that and reminding us of how important that is that we do that as well too. So truly appreciate you, and I hope you have a phenomenal rest of the day.
Thank you so much.